Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of NDI TV, the channel that is all about the NDI, the IP standard which is moving content and moving the world. I am your host Renato Strumifagliani, and on today's episode I will be talking to PTZ Optics and the very talented Mr. Paul Richards, Marketing Director and host of the PTZ Optics streaming channels, about what PTZ Optics does and how they do it. We will also go on an exclusive tour with Paul as he shows us around his studio setup and explains to us how they achieve their amazing production quality using a range of their own products and, of course, the power of NDI. Let's hear it from Paul and PTZ Optics. Hi Paul, how are you today?
Hi Renato, I'm doing great.
Excellent, really good to have you on the show. Thanks for coming along.
I'm so excited to be here. Can't wait to talk about NDI.
Perfect, that's what we'd like to hear. So can you just tell me a little about how PTZ or PTZ Optics came about and how you became involved?
Yeah, so PTZ Optics is a professional pan-tilt-zoom camera manufacturer. We're based outside of Philadelphia in the United States, and we specialize in pan-tilt-zoom cameras. So we specialize in robotics, and we started about 6 years ago in 2014. And our engineers have been focused on network-based, network-controlled, IP-connected robotic cameras, and that's led us into many different video production and broadcast scenarios, including a partnership with NewTek to build NDI into our cameras over the years.
Right, okay, when did that come about?
So I believe the first NDI camera that PTZ Optics released was in the neighborhood of 2018, so we're going on about 3 years now. And most of our cameras are able to be upgraded to have NDI functionality. So we have thousands and thousands of NDI cameras out in the wild, and our customers really enjoy all the flexibility that they offer.
Do you feel like NDI has been a contributing factor to your success with the business so far?
I certainly believe so. You know, NewTek and NDI are bigger, wider reaching brands and well-known interoperable connectivity standards. It's bigger than PTZ Optics. So NDI has really helped launch our business into the broadcast world and kind of helped us forge a lot of new relationships in the broadcast and live streaming industry with companies who also support NDI. So it's kind of become a hub, not just for, hey, this product source with this, but also meeting people and learning from them how they're using NDI and opening up these new workflows for our customers and for all kinds of different opportunities.
Yeah. Can you tell us about some kind of recent case studies that you might have where you've seen PTZ Optics and NDI being used in new and innovative ways?
Yes, and one of the first ones I wanted to bring up is actually a wedding. You know, with the global pandemic and COVID right now, a lot of weddings are needing to live stream and keep kind of have small, intimate gatherings, and they can't invite as many people as they would like. One of the new NDI products that we announced is the HuddleCam HD Pro IP. And I wanted to show this off to you, Renato, because it's such an interesting, different type of webcam. This is a NDI Power over Ethernet webcam that really allows folks to add a couple extra close-up cameras in their production. And we were working with a company called 1822 Productions in the Lehigh Valley, and he was hired to use his TriCaster to live stream a wedding. And they used multiple different pan-tilt-zoom cameras, and they put a couple different HuddleCam HD Pro IP cameras. Because they're small and compact, he's able to just put it right on top of a monitor. But it was really a beautiful ceremony where folks could watch the wedding live, and they live streamed it online so that people from around the world could attend the wedding and also keep safe distances at the same time.
So can you tell me about any other applications you've seen for PTZ Optic cameras outside of the studio environment? You talked about weddings, but anything else? I mean, have you seen anything in the commercial space or perhaps sports, esports?
Yeah, I mean, well, there's many, many applications. It really spans, almost every industry. In the esports side, if you're talking esports, obviously a lot of webcams for gamers, and having NDI there for the esports tournaments is great because there's lots of sources, and you can't necessarily have a massive SDI or HDMI switcher running everything over the Ethernet. these NDI webcams have been really popular in esports because they need to put the cameras, they just clip right onto the monitors to capture the gamers.
Mm-hmm.
And then another popular one is for corporate communications. And, we actually have some of our cameras are certified for Zoom. And the cameras that are certified for Zoom really have become incredibly popular for corporate communications, where you can control the cameras directly in Zoom. And many of our customers are using the virtual NDI input drivers to bring NDI cameras and sources directly into video communication software like Zoom, like Microsoft Teams and others.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the SDK tools for NDIs. Do you find yourself using any of those tools in particular for your productions?
We certainly do, and our customers as well. We are very popular in the house of worship space. So we serve a lot of churches and worship communities. And there's two tools that they use very frequently. And one is for a pastor to simply send their PowerPoint presentation or slides back to a video production system, whether it's OBS, Wirecast, vMix, the TriCaster. They needed a simple way to send the slides from the computer to another space that's doing the live streaming. And NDI Scan Converter is a great way to do that. OBS is a great way to do that. Another tool that folks like to really use is the NDI Studio Monitor. It has a lot of great features under the hood that a lot of customers don't know about, but for digital signage and for overflow rooms and spaces where at the lobby of a church where they can now show the NDI output of their video production software so that people can see, for overflow rooms, for nurseries, for different areas, distributing the video throughout their space. I didn't know that NDI Studio Monitor can also be controlled remotely using the IP address of that device so that you can change the sources and kind of manage it over the network. So I always tell people about that feature where you can go in and get the IP address of the NDI Studio Monitor and change the sources remotely.
Oh yeah, did you catch Richard Evans, Did You Know, the other day on NDI TV?
Yeah, I saw that, and everybody's got to see that because it's a great feature.
We'll hear back from Paul in a few minutes, but first, let's hear about, in case you didn't already know, what is NDI?
Hi, I'm Laure Mediavilla, and I'm pleased to join you here on NDI.TV. But first of all, what is NDI? To better explain the advantages of NDI, why don't we go back to traditional video workflows, which would involve using a ton of cables to send one video signal in one direction, and even more cables to connect one piece of equipment to another. In addition, in order to share all those video sources, you will need to use video routers, distribution amplifiers, and a lot more expensive, complex equipment, leading to a setup that looks a little like this. Now, what NDI allows you to is to connect a camera or other NDI-enabled video source into NDI-enabled device. You can instantly share that source across your network using your existing gigabit network infrastructure with ease, essentially interconnecting all your devices via the power of NDI.
I love showing people around our studio because we use all the cameras and technology that we sell here. And the first camera that I showed off just a moment ago is this NDI Z-Cam. So PTZ Optics, we're really known for our pan-tilt zoom cameras, which I will show, but we have a lot of other cameras, like we talked about the webcam. Let me show you this camera right here. I'm going to zoom into it with a PTZ Optics camera quickly. And then I want to just show you the view from this camera because it's really a great camera for close-up shots. So let me show you guys the view from this. This is called the PTZ Optics Z-Cam, and it's an NDI camera for super close-up shots. So I like to show this camera, and here's another one that is in the same Z-Cam family. These don't have pan-tilt zoom, but they have the ability to capture these great close-up shots. And while I'm on this is the brand new Z-Cam with electronic pan-tilt zoom. This is a really cool new camera. It has dual SDI outputs. And we worked with Andrew Cross on this for a long time because this NDI output has electronic pan tilt zoom. So it has the ability to use a 4K sensor, but then electronically pan tilt and zoom inside of that space, giving for a camera that's only $499, the ability to use it in NDI studio monitor, pan tilt and zoom like a regular PTZ camera on an incredibly low budget. So these are being used in telemedicine for doctors to be able to, it's no moving parts. It's a 5-year warranty on this, a sturdy aluminum case. It will last forever, last for 10, 20 years, I'm sure. And it's got the ability to output 2 SDI video feeds in 1080p. So you could have one recording, the full, whether let's say it's a surgery, you get the whole thing in a multi-quarter, and then another one for the doctor to zoom in with and see exactly what's going on in more detail. So this is a really cool NDI camera I wanted to show off. Let me take you over to our production area, and I'll zoom out here so you can kind of see the studio in a little more detail. So this is our live streaming studio, and we stream to YouTube once a week. So you can see there's a lot of lights and everything. One camera I wanted to point out is this NDI camera is our main camera. This is called a 12x SDI camera, and it has NDI built in. So this camera is really popular. It's probably one of our most popular cameras, and it's totally remotely controllable. So right now, I'm controlling this camera with our smartphone app. So I'm controlling this with this is my iPhone, but it's also available for Android and for Kindle devices, actually, which is becoming really popular. A lot of people are using Kindles because Kindle Fires are so affordable. I'll walk over to my studio space here. And so this is where our producer generally sits. But what I wanted to show was the back of this camera here. So this is powered over Ethernet. So that's really kind of an important feature for most of our customers, is the fact that you can power the camera over Ethernet, control the camera over Ethernet, and of course, you can get NDI video over Ethernet. And so if we come over here, this is the behind the scenes view of kind of where our production's set up. And this is the camera you were seeing me on just a moment ago. So that is the HuddleCam HD Pro. And that camera is really popular. Again, it has that power over Ethernet and the NDI built in. And that camera is super popular. It has one model is USB, and it's only $299. And then there's an NDI model, it's only $499. Another camera shot I wanted to show quickly was we have a camera on a slider. And you mentioned to me as well, everyone's trying to do their marketing virtually. Everyone's trying to, replace what they used to do with trade shows. And how do we do it effectively? And one thing you can do, which is super easy, is to, get a PTZ Optics. This is a 12x Z cam on a very affordable slider. And for, less than $1,000, you can add these kind of QVC style views, these kind of like home shopping network style views. This is the camera here that beautifully shows off, anything you put on your table so that people can see it in, HD quality when you live stream.
Yeah, it gives it that extra little bump of quality that people are looking for, I think. It looks really good.
Thanks. So that's, basically a quick little studio tour there. I always love showing that off. We obviously have all of that footage if people want to see it in more detail on our YouTube channels. But a lot of people are building new studios now, as you know, and that will probably stir up some new ideas.
Yeah, I mean, you really do so much with all those different angles in the studio. With I can see it's not a huge space, but you really make the most of it.
I was going to mention that I was at Zoomtopia last week. So Zoom had their big Zoom event, and I was asked to do a studio tour. And one of the things they really wanted me to mention was this whole studio was an office space. So the walls were white and everything was manila, that like kind of boring office color. And we put up wallpaper. So, that is not real brick. That is just wallpaper. If I zoom in on it, you can see that it's just regular wallpaper. And, it didn't take a lot of money to turn this into a nice studio. So it's just it doesn't look like an office space anymore. And so a lot of businesses can do this on a pretty low budget.
Yeah, I was going to mention, you and Tess seem to have a lot of fun with your stuff. You have some really great graphic inserts. You have some great little sections. How do you deal with your approach to storytelling? How do you approach your different themes?
Well, I would say the number one thing is to make sure that you are having fun. At least that's for me. I think that the fun and energy that you can bring to live streaming and live video content is really important, because your audiences and the engagement that you do it's like laughter is contagious. I really feel like it's got to be fun, and you have to be passionate about what you're talking about. It's intimidating for some people to get started. So, try 3 or 4 times. It's going to take 4 live streams until you start feeling comfortable and you kind of work out the kinks. So just know that it's going to take a little while until everyone feels comfortable being on camera and presenting. But also, the other great thing about live stream and live video production is that you can just create short videos and upload them to YouTube, Facebook. And if you don't like the short video that you created, you can go ahead at bat and swing again. So, you can put a whole live video production system in place. You don't even have to live stream with it. You can just use it to record short videos, and then over a year or 2, work up to live streams and even hosting webinars like on platforms like Zoom.
So, Paul, are there any new features you want to discuss with us today on NDI TV? Any new exclusives?
Yeah, well, the one big announcement that PTZ Optics has made is we've announced a 5-year warranty for all of the PTZ Optics cameras, including our webcams. And so that's the industry-leading standard for PTZ cameras, and it comes from the great reliability and build quality of our motors and optics that are built into the PTZ Optics cameras. That announcement actually comes with a few great firmware updates that come from our customers that have been asking for better features to control PTZ cameras. So if you're a remote PTZ camera operator, a couple of the firmware upgrades that we've done is one is called tri-synchronous motion. And what that does is it allows the camera to pan, tilt, and zoom at the exact same time when you are recalling a PTZ preset position. So it's a new PTZ camera technology to optimize the motion that the camera moves between PTZ presets. That feature is also included with another feature called speed by zoom. So the further that you zoom in a PTZ camera, you can enable it to slow down the pan and tilt, because as you can imagine, when you zoom in really far, you don't want the camera to kind of pan or tilt too quickly. So that feature, along with tri-synchronous motion, has been a big deal. We've also added adjustable pan, tilt, and zoom speeds for both manual and preset controls. And then another big one is our new support for focal range. So you can lock the focus, which is a big one that people are really excited about. You zoom into something, lock the focus, and avoid any unwanted autofocus issues that could happen if somebody walked in front of the camera. But a new one is focal range support, which allows you to set a specific range of focus lock, if you will. So if there's a stage that you're zooming into 20 or 30 feet away, you can have the autofocus only work within, 6 to 3 meters or any range that you'd like to set on the camera. So that's really popular, along with the focus lock, so you can really focus on what matters.
Great. Thank you so much, Paul. That was really great. Thank you for your time, and we hope you have a lovely day.
Thank you, Renato.
Bye-bye. So that's it for this episode of NDI TV. But remember to keep checking back with us to keep up to date with all things happening in the world of NDI. And if you haven't already, why not experience the power of NDI for yourself for absolutely free? Visit ndi.tv and click on NDI Tools at the top of the page. Inside, you'll find a suite of applications allowing you to send and receive NDI signals on both PC and Mac. And if you're a developer or a manufacturer and are ready to add NDI support to your products, you can download the NDI SDK at NDI.TV as well. This royalty-free software developers kit offers access to all the tools and resources you'll need to integrate native NDI support into your software, as well as the NDI embedded development kit for all your products like cameras, converters, monitors, and more. I'd like to thank Paul Richards from PTZ Optics for joining me today. And remember, you can see all of Paul and Tess's excellent content on the PTZ Optics pages on YouTube or Facebook Live. Just remember to subscribe. And next Thursday, 19th of November, we're having a very special edition of NDI TV, where I will be announcing something new for the world of NDI. So don't miss that. Thank you for watching today. And remember, I will see you on the next episode of NDI TV.